Yeah, it just moves around. Depending on who's fault.
All right, so as always, no decisions were made. Oh, yep, ready to go, okay. As always, no decisions were made in executive session. Mr. Caswell, can you give the finance and facilities report?
All right, thank you. We had just a couple of items at our committee meeting this month. We met back on Monday, December 2nd. There's one resolution that we'll be bringing forward at the board meeting tonight. We reviewed the capital project details for the CBI interior restacking, reprogramming, design work for this project. Recommended by the college to bring forward at the December 10th tonight board meeting. The design phase of the project will consist of planning and design to restack the building's interior to better support new and emerging instructional needs. The project will consist of reconfiguring classroom, lab, and office spaces, refreshing public spaces, replacing skylights, upgrading building systems, and addressing accessibility requirements. Then there was just a couple of other updates that we received. Donna Rocap provided the committee with an update on the T-Mobile sale closing. Both parties will sign and exchange documents electronically on December 20th. And also Scott Schnackenberg gave the committee an update on the residence hall refinance process that we're looking into right now. And that was it for our committee meeting this morning.
Thank you very much. Mr. Costello, the foundation.
Well, good evening, everyone. Foundation board meeting was held on December the 5th, and there should be a detailed summary of the report that was given in each of your packets. But just as a quick overview, what was covered was fundraising efforts, grants, website updates, marketing strategy, and an update on alumni relations at the meeting. Thank you to all those that attended the board holiday dinner at the Roundhouse. 90 guests were in attendance. Major gifts to the foundation are as follows, starting with Trustee Dupree and Michael Fleischer, giving $100,000 for the Student Housing Endowment. John O'Shea and Lelani Orcutt both gave unrestricted $10,000 donations. An anonymous donor gave a $5,500 donation, and Diana is also working on 6 new scholarship gifts ranging from $15,000 to $20,000 apiece.
That's great.
Thank you. The association report, Mr. Rizzo.
So we have our next meeting set up, I believe.
January sometime, yeah.
Sometime we're working on that. And in the interim, the last association meeting we had was lengthy, covered a lot, but I would say that the central topic was basically what was going on with the dorm and the refinancing efforts that we have discussed. We also had updates on athletics. Finances for the association are doing fine. Happy to tell everybody that right now. Costs have been lower on lots of areas where its revenues have been higher. So we're doing well. Chartwell's is doing well. The problem for the association honestly remains, the biggest one is the dormitory. As I discussed earlier, the decision on what room rates to charge is always difficult because we're a community college, want to serve our students, but the higher we go, the less probably they can afford to pay. But at the same time, the lower we leave it, and with the mortgage rates where they are, and the problem with our lender wanting to refinance such brief time periods, it's very costly. So but we are working on that, as I told you guys all earlier. And that's basically the association. Also, just to point out that with Adam's departure, he was the president of the association, since Scott Schnackenberg is stepped up to become the president of the association. And I don't think that when you agree to do this, you're going to be getting so deeply into the details of the dormitory, but thank you, Scott. Any questions? Okay.
That's it for the workshop portion. As it is after 6:30, we're good to start with our board meeting. So do I call the meeting to order? And then I always go out of order on this. If we can do our roll call, please.
Mr. Bobby Biersack,
Present.
Mr. Frank Costello,
Present.
Mr. Stephen Caswell,
Present.
Miss Dara Cloud. Here. Mr. Michael Dupree,
I'm with present tonight.
Miss Angela Fleslin,
Present.
Miss Lisa Garden, Mr. Ibis Guzman,
Go with present as well.
Miss Evelyn Panici,
Here.
Miss Linda Pratt,
Here.
present. You guys are killing me tonight.
All right, start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've all had an opportunity to review the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We have one person that signed up for public comment tonight, Carolyn Rounds. Just want to remind you, it's limited to 3 minutes. When you're at 30 seconds remaining, I'll just kind of raise my hand. Remind you. Do you want me to stand anywhere? Actually, we don't have a microphone over there. No, okay, yeah, if you just want to come closer to the. Very good.
We're not used to it either.
Yeah, we're not.
She need to
Is
stand.
it working out okay with the? All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the board, my name is Carolyn Rounds. I am an associate professor in the Allied Health and Biological Sciences, or AHBS department, where I've worked for the past 13 years. I'm here tonight to share some serious concerns held by the faculty and staff of my department with regard to the capital project request for restructuring CBI in order to accommodate a center of excellence for nursing and allied health. The concept for the Center of Excellence was first presented to my department by Dr. Jordan on December 18th, 2023. In this meeting, he described the possible creation of a Center of Excellence, which would include the nursing, medical lab tech, paramedic, exercise science programs. This would split apart the current AHBS department, which includes these programs, along with biology, which is part of the Liberal Arts and Science, or LAX program. There are several concerns with a physical restructuring of the AHBS department to create the Center of Excellence in CBI. One is that teaching classes in both the allied health and biology disciplines is extremely common for faculty in our department and raises the question of where those instructors would be placed with the restructuring of offices and labs that is proposed. Additionally, having programs currently part of the AHBS housed within the same location provides excellent avenues for collaboration between faculty who are teaching similar subject matter and who share the same students in a semester. Another issue with the restructuring suggested is that the allied health courses utilize the same lab space and materials and are supported by the same lab staff as biology courses. It makes little sense to replicate labs and personnel that already exist and function well in Washington Center. Our current structure also provides seamless access for students with similar interests to meet in a common space within Washington Center. Students who are in an allied health program who will be doing large amounts of laboratory work in their career are in the same space as biology students who want to go into laboratory research. Students who are in exercise science, who will be mostly interacting with patients or clients as physical therapists or personal trainers, are able to come together with biology students who are going into pre-med or physician's assistant programs where they will be working directly with patients. Based on the description of a Center of Excellence provided in this resolution, I would argue that we already have one for allied health and biological sciences that functions well to prepare students for application to a nursing program or for their local careers as lab technicians, paramedics, personal trainers, and medical professionals. We respectfully ask that the members of the board consider our concerns with regard to the restructuring changes being proposed for CBI, and that the board vote to not approve the capital project request in this resolution. We at HBS are happy to work with Dr. Jordan on achieving a vision that best supports the academic success of our students, but physically restructuring a functional department is not the way to achieve this goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You timed that excellent. Thank you. That's very impressive. All right, we will move on to consideration of minutes from the meetings held on October 22nd and November 25th. You all had an opportunity to review. Are there any amendments needed? If not, can I have a motion to accept? So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Moving on to, it's a pretty short agenda this month, moving on to academic and student affairs. Ms. Cloud, I believe that you were reporting.
Basically, there were just presentations and informational updates. Designated limited public forum for use of facilities for free speech policy. Trustee Guzman, Chair of the Board Policy Committee, provided an update on Michael Adams' report concerning campus feedback and suggested changes to the designated limited public forum for use of facilities for free speech policy. The Board Policy Committee agreed that Michael Adams, along with representatives from SGA and PSA, would attend the January Board Policy and Academic and Student Affairs Committee meetings to present feedback focused on revising the policy rather than rewriting. Teresa Burke, Associate Professor of Biology, gave us a presentation on the evolution of open education resources, which was really exciting. She delivered her talk focused on teaching, learning, and research materials that offer students access to high-quality educational content, allowing for free use and adaptation by others. It's really fantastic thing, where basically the professors are writing their own textbooks. Students can access them for little or no money. And finally, informational updates were from Middle States Commission on Higher Education. Scott updated the committee on the status of the review. They received the requested supplemental report and no further information is needed. And they confirmed that the college's next review is scheduled for 2031. And the only reminder we have is the committee received general updates regarding the calendar of events for 24-25.
Thank you very much. Mr. Caswell, you already gave your finance and facilities report, so you have one resolution. If you want to read that?
Yep, so I have one resolution here, resolution number 2025-16. So I offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Resolved, it is hereby determined pursuant to the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Act and its implementing regulation that this project is a type 2 action within the meaning of section 617.5 C1 and 2, and accordingly is of a class of action which did not have a significant impact on the environment and no further review is required. And be it further resolved that the following capital project is hereby authorized and approved in the amount indicated below. The project name being CBI Interior Restack and Reprogramming. It's the design work for this project. The estimated total cost is $1,975,000. The state share is $987,500, and our sponsor's share, the county of Dutchess, is $987,500. And be it further resolved that this resolution will be forwarded to the Dutchess County Legislature for its consideration. Is there a second?
Thank you very much. Any discussion?
So what we just heard in our public comment, can we discuss that?
Absolutely.
I would just like to hear if there's a response to that, if that's what has been envisioned here, that there's a lot of separation, or how that will work.
So at this point, we're talking about design for redeveloping CBI to accommodate these programs. So in the design process, we will have architects who meet with faculty, staff, members of the college community, including students, to talk about what that design might look like. The building itself, the footprint, definitely will not accommodate all of the biological and science labs that currently exist in Washington Hall. So there's no expectation that all of those programs and labs will move into CBI. So there will be more discussion about how we go about making this happen. And that will happen within the design phase.
Right. Thank you.
We'll look at different alternatives
Mhm.
and decide based on all of this input.
And take these concerns into
Right.
account.
That's what, at one point I looked at the cost and I was like, my God, these design costs are high, and I realized
They are nowadays.
they are nowadays because,
Right.
and people are going
Yeah.
into the actual campus facilities and talking to people to say, does this make sense? Would you do
Yeah.
this way? So it's not like it just cookie cutter, so it costs more.
Great.
And splitting out the design process gives us an opportunity to get some real cost estimates as well.
Mhm.
Right, in the past, you just approved a lump sum for design and construction, and you were really guessing early on. So by splitting off the design, that's an added feature. We can get the input and a couple of design options and some real solid costs on these different options as well. So-
It's aligning the college with how the county operates. So that's why it's also, I think, preferred this way to take design out first. So.
Okay.
Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Resolution carries. Personnel.
Do you want to do this?
Oh, I'm sorry, Evis.
No worries.
I forgot you.
No, it's okay.
Never.
Board policy, we met Wednesday, December 4th. In September, we passed the designated limited public forum for use of facilities and free speech policy. And there was a lot of discussion. I invited, some feedback, and Michael Adams came and reported some of the feedback and suggested some of the changes. You just heard Trustee Cloud go over it. Just to add to that, the Board Policy Committee felt that the feedback from the SGA was a total, complete rewrite of the policy that was passed in September. And that current day had received further feedback from PSA as well, Student Affairs. So we just felt that we could invite these individuals back for our policy meeting next month. And again, some of the feedback that we're requesting is just help us focus some of this on revising the policy rather and moving away from this trying to rewrite the entire policy itself. But I just wanted to add to your summation of what was discussed. Further than that, we discussed grant-funded positions, policy statement, the committee, there was a discussion centered around grant-funded positions and policy impacts to both employees and students. Furthermore, we went into some new policies that Dr. Jordan spoke to us about coming in 2025 regarding data information sharing, cybersecurity, and in keeping with the Beach Wiley Act. Say that 3 times. So, and again, just some of the calendar policy committee meetings, but that was our discussion. I didn't realize that policy committee was going to be so happening of a topic. So that is my
Thank you, Aaron.
If I may add, Madam Chair, Trustee Biersack also provided some of his perspective as a student and what he's heard from students on the policy, which caused us also to think about not only free speech, but concerns that students have about freedom of expression as well. And we did say that we would invite student government, the president, to come to academic and student affairs and policy committee meetings in January to talk about that concern as well, to determine whether we need another policy based on students' concerns.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to personnel.
So the committee met, as much of the discussion was on personnel issues that I can't mention here. But we, of course, did discuss the contract for Dr. Jordan to extend his employment here. We went back and forth, and I think we've all agreed on it. It's been vetted by our attorneys and Peter's, so we're ready to go. That's one item we have on the agenda tonight. Otherwise, again, discussions were centered on any labor management updates for agreements and also legal updates, which I can't discuss. So I have resolution 2025-17. I move its adoption. Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby reappoints Dr. Peter Grant Jordan to the position of President of Dutchess Community College with a contract covering the period September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2029, and be it further resolved that his salary for fiscal year 2024, 2025 shall be $235,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Did you just want to point out that this was sent to SUNY
Oh, yeah.
for their new guidelines, and we did receive approval from general counsel of the SUNY on this. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Resolution carries. Congratulations, Dr. Jordan.
Thank you.
Mr. Gersak, your student report.
Thank you. I don't have much this evening. Something coming up in the near future. There are 2 bus trips planned for next spring to New York City, both on February 1st and April 26th. On Saturday, February 8th, there will be a bus trip to an indoor water park in Monticello called Cartwright, as well as a snow dipping trip to Hunter Mountain on February 22nd. 2 students on the campus activities board are working with the Red Cross to arrange a pre-Valentine's Day blood drive on 2/13, which is the same day as the student activities flower sale. There will be all free offerings to blood donors, so donate, please. Thank you. This is something that happened last month. The Diversity Council at Dutchess had a student panel on topics like mental health, social justice, and etc. And I was actually on the panel for that event, and it was very empowering. And the question that was asked to me that I wanted to talk about this evening, how has mental health impacted my life academically, socially, all the above, basically? And I'll tell you, when I first came here 10 years ago, I was dealing with depression times like 1,000, and I was moody, I was angry, I cut class. I won't curse, that'd be improper, but, you know, fill in the blanks. I was not a happy camper, basically, and I cut class and my GPA went as low as a 0.68. And by that point, I put my hands up in the air. It's no, I'm done. And I walked away for a handful of years. I got a job at a bachelor college and working in dining and seeing students go on from there to grad school and their careers. I would say, I'm not bitter, I'm not angry, where in reality, of course I was. I wanted that for myself. And so a couple of years ago, I made a choice to go back to school and do it the right way. My all-time low GPA was a 0.68. It's now a 3.9. And to segue into my last part of my report, I got into Marist next year with a $25,000 scholarship already lined up. So, and that ends my report. So.
We are super proud of you.
Yeah.
I found this out last week. You told me this on Thursday night. And that's great news. And your hard work has definitely paid off. And I'm glad that UCC gave you the opportunity to kind of turn your life around.
To say I'm exhausted would be kind of, redundant at this point, but I'm exhausted. What is sleep? How do you
That is
nap, basically?
We have all been there. Moving on to the report of the chair. So on November 16th, admissions hosted a record-breaking fall open house, drawing 270 prospective students and 288 guests, which is a 30% increase over last year's event. 87% of survey respondents strongly agreed that the program made them more likely to consider attending DCC. Even more exciting, 10 attendees completed their admission applications right on the spot. On October 26th, admissions hosted the aviation open house at Hudson Valley Regional Airport. Attendees had the opportunity to explore DCC's pilot aviation maintenance technician and aviation management programs. A total of 316 people attended, including 124 students and their families. So I think we all know that the interest in that program is really expanding. On October 16th, Michelle Diana from admissions led the Poughkeepsie High School current session at DCC, where 46 students learned about dual enrollment opportunities. In celebration of National Transfer Student Week, DCC undertook a 3-week transfer celebration that included 2 transfer fairs, a bus trip, Transfer 101 workshops, and a week of instant decision making. The DCC Counseling Center partnered with Dutchess County Sexual Assault Response Team and Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence to bring an interactive panel of presenters to campus on November 14th. A special thanks to head coach Chip Watt, assistant coaches Cassidy Watt and Liz McCarthy, and the women's softball program for hosting a breast cancer awareness fall softball scrimmage against CCRI on October 20th. The event raised awareness for breast cancer and generated funds for Play in Pink and the DCC softball program. We have quite a few, the workforce education and development. They were awarded 2 SUNY grants that have been implemented in the fall, in which students have received funding for internships and service work. So the SUNY internship program supports students completing unpaid internships. 5 students were awarded the scholarship, which helps with transportation, childcare, housing, and other wraparound expenses that average about $3,000 per semester. And the SUNY Empire State Service Corps is connected with AmeriCorps, and the students receive $1,400 educational awards if they complete 300 hours of service. All Corps members are also paid for their service at a program rate of $16 per hour. There was a last fireside chat of the semester was held on 11/22. These discussions on issues related to higher education and partnership with the foundation. The TLC will host its annual potluck end of semester celebration on Thursday from 11 to 3 p.m. Trustees are welcome to stop by. The DCC College Speech and Debate Coalition has traveled all over the place for the month of October and November. They were at Lafayette College. They were with colleges across the East Coast, where DCC actually hosted the DCC Invitational. And then they traveled to Seton Hall University on November 10th, and they've had great results at all of those. So we are very proud of them. And lastly, DCC is serving as the regional lead on an application for a significant funding opportunity. The One Regional Network for Advanced Manufacturing Partnerships requested proposals from economic development regions across the state to locate and support workforce training center for advanced manufacturing and adjacent industries, which particularly support mobility for priority populations of New Yorkers. DCC pulled together with 4 other community colleges, industry, government, and community partners. The team, led by Dr. Susan Rogers, prepared and submitted an application for the maximum award of $40 million. The next step of the funding evaluation process is scheduled team interview, which will take place on December 16th. I think it's also important to point out that Ron Hicks from Dutchess County was very influential on that and has really kind of helped to continue to lead the college forward with those events and those scholarship and grant opportunities. Comic-Con, save the date. Comic-Con will take place on 1/16. Trustees are invited to join for any part of the day. There will be breakout sessions, different chats going on, and length of service awards will also be given following lunch. Full schedule will be forthcoming. That is it. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to begin by thanking members of the Board of Trustees for your confidence and trust in my leadership in terms of your renewal of my contract. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And my family appreciate you. So thank you very much. I also want to express my thanks and praise to members of our leadership team, some of whom are here, but also faculty and staff who have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting to turn this institution around and to continue to lift it up in the community. But I also want to express my thanks and appreciation to all of our partners outside of the campus, within the community, from elected officials and community leaders to our school district superintendents and so forth, who are coming together to support this institution and to work with us. So I look forward to moving forward again with your continued support and the support of our leadership team and members of the greater community in service to DCC. So thank you much for your past support and commitment and for all that is to come in the future. I want to then move to celebrating another unsung hero group and offer an unsung hero shout out to DCC's facilities team. Folks who behind the scenes work day in and day out on our landscaping and curb appeal and snow removal. This time of the year is especially difficult for all of us. We want to be warm and comfortable, but we have a tremendous team of folks who take care of our air conditioning and heating and our warehousing and snow removal and all of these things in support of the core enterprise of teaching and learning here at DCC. And I invite you to join me in celebrating our DCC facilities team. Not only do they focus on their day-to-day work of keeping this institution running, but they also find time to work on building community and togetherness here at DCC through activities like Thirsty Thursdays and the year-end toy drive, Toy for Tots drives for the holidays. So again, join me in celebrating this important group here at DCC. I also want to let the board know and members of the greater community, thanks to my leadership team, members of the cabinet, especially to Susan and members of our marketing and communications team for assisting me in getting through our 4 lenses, 4 the 4 lenses of our strategic plan to ensure that our strategic plan is not a dust collector on a shelf in the president's office, but that we are actualizing that strategic plan. And those events I thought were well attended. We could have used some more folks there, but I was especially pleased by the level of engagement, the participation, the kinds of questions, ideas, and thoughts that people had about how DCC might move forward around students, learning, community, and growth as well. So, Madam Chair, that's my report for the evening.
Thank you.
Let's stop there.
Any further business to come? Seeing none, I want to wish everyone a very happy and healthy holiday season. And to you and your families, our next meeting will be January 28th of 2025. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Get home safely.
Great job. I think it's very, very good.